have to respond to the pattern recognition, if you like.
The visual cue of what
You can't see it, and your peripheral awareness is bad. Not the limitation of it, but just what you're picking up and interpreting. Your depth of perception is poor. So your anticipatory timing, what you anticipate to see, what your visualization of what is going to happen, what's your image in there of the event? Are you able to plan or predict, and immediately react to? So you have to be able to, what I call skim and scan. I do it on a train, as a little tip. I do it on a train when I ride down on the train. I don't know how fast that train goes, but I'll just simply skim the environment. Close, far, inside the carriage, outside the carriage, switching, closing one eye, opening one eye, closing both eyes, and picking up on my visual cues. I need to be able to not understand the information I'm seeing. I've got to be able to see the information. And I don't know what part of that information is important to me. But if I'm not able, is it the fovea? Mm-hmm. The fovea will now pick up on...
Fovea is that very tiny part straight in front of your eye that actually sees things clearly.
Clearly. And the brain fills in the rest of the pattern, whatever it is. But if I'm not able to quickly pick up my environment, novel or known, I can't focus the phobia on those areas which I anticipate the danger to be coming from. I won't see it. So I need to be able to have eyes that really rapidly move, and have hands which move equally quick.
Right.
And while I'm doing all that, I have to be able to be cognizant, to be able to talk, to be able to plan ahead, to be able to see what I've done. A fighter pilot doesn't go in on a raid and say, please turn off the radio, I don't want to hear, I've got a missile coming in. Can you stop attacking me over here, I'm dealing with this. You can't fucking do that. He doesn't suddenly slow the plane down and say, I want to go at 20 miles an hour, go and deal with all this shit. He can't do it. And he doesn't know he's a genetic freak. All he knows is that's how he's been trained. So unless you push the system, genetic freak or fucking not, you're not going to get the faculties and attributes you need to
So it's brain training also.
It's brain training.
And I know you tell me in sessions.
And I do a lot of different things.
I know you tell me in sessions that you make guys, when they're doing the Tabatas, you make them look around the room, you make them talk.
So as you're doing it, you should be able to what? I should be able to talk, and I should be looking around, look at him. What would it be? Just look at him peripherally.
From different angles.
From different angles. Way up what's in the room. So there's a part of my brain that when I'm learning a process, it's like police, ambulance, drivers or whatever it is, or when you did your driving test, the instructor will talk to you.
Yeah, really annoyingly.
Yeah,
when
because I want to change gears. No, I want to talk to you. No, I want to... because now you're tunneling onto something which should be automatic. Or ultimately automatic.
Right.
And so that you can plan your journey. You have two parts of your brain. One brain says, I'm going to Birmingham. And the other part now deals with all the shit of going to Birmingham. You don't keep saying, I'm going to Birmingham, I'm going to Birmingham, I'm going to Birmingham.
Yeah, but equally you don't forget where you're going.
You don't forget where you're going. Unless somebody says, let's change route, or there's a diversion, or whatever it is.
Okay.
That was the period of that blog where there's a difference between a taxi driver and a bus driver. A bus driver's on a route. 36 only goes this way.
This is the only way.
Now there's a blockage. Okay, we're all stuck in traffic. If I'm a taxi driver, I can take you to your destination through alternative routes. So the more choices you have, and the quicker you're able to initiate those choices and act decisively on them, the better off. The better you're going to be, the faster you're going to be, rather than what you might think, the slower you're going to be. That was another experiment they did with typists, that in order to make them type faster, they did what was counterintuitive. They made them type faster. And every time they made a mistake, they make them speed up. Because intuitively you want to slow down to check the mistake. So this working is very high rates will train you, not only the system to be more responsive, more reactive to what you see, but it will allow you to see more in that same time frame, and not relying on adrenaline or some kind of phenomena whereby that might happen.
And you hope.
You hope. And I continue to get faster. I don't know, in a sense I can continue to be able to see more. And it will put you up. It will adrenalize you, it will get that chemical cocktail upon which your survival depends. So at that point when you say, I want to quit, you're now quitting the very survival mechanisms which you need to go to be familiar with.
So someone setting out on this that's not familiar with this kind of break point in themselves, it's important for people to know that you will experience it, and you have to, and that's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
And push past it.
And you need to push past it. And rather, you're not in a race. You do it if you're a marathon runner, you do it if you're a sprinter training for an event, or you're in the race itself. Here's a great opportunity that you can take one simple fucking exercise, and that's what I said, to mix a punch out with a Tabata. Mix an Olympic punch out with a Tabata, and then keep repeating the Olympic punch out for
your Tabata session.
For Tabata session.
And it's a form of torture.
Yeah, and Mick Coop gave me a great idea. He said that what he does sometimes, he tosses a coin to decide whether he does it again. Mm-hmm. So now it's down to chance.
So you're kind of beasting yourself.
Yeah, you're beasting yourself. So you've done your fucking Tabata, you've done your 8, you've done your 4 minutes.
And you could get unlucky.
And you could get unlucky. And just as you go around the corner after beating up the last 4 guys, you now go around as another 4.
So like an Indiana Jones movie or something.
Yeah, so I thought that's a great idea, like pulling a short straw or whatever it is, to actually, or taking a particular card out of a deck. It's another way of actually pushing yourself to a limit that you haven't yet experienced.
And you don't need a trainer for it.
And you don't need a trainer for it. And that's why when I saw it, like most things, I'm looking for a way of actually reducing the number of things I can do rather than increasing the number of things I can do with it. I don't want to spend 8 hours in the gym.
Well,
I want to see as much work as I can do outside without going to a gym. And when I go to a gym or whatever, I don't want to reduce the amount of stuff I do within it, but it's quality stuff because it's addressing the system. And it's specific to the system, specifically to what it needs to do. I look at a lot of guys and they say, we are now doing an explosive exercise. Oh, I'm now doing an isometric. And you think, no, I don't think so, pal. There's nothing explosive about it. So sometimes to have quality work, you've got to have quality, not instruction, but a quality representation, something you can actually identify with an explosion.
Well, there's an example on the website, Ross Boxing. He does an Olympic contest, doesn't he? And that's quite intense.
Quite intense. And that would
if you went and did that for your Tabata, that would do you.
Yeah. That would.
He's going like a machine on that bag.
And basically, you can now, wherever you are, because you've worked the hips. And there's one point, just a couple of points. Have we got how much time we got?
We got almost 10 minutes.
Okay. Is that some shots are what I call the truck. The shot is what? The shot is the truck. Exploding through the target.
Okay.
Where the weight is the main what?
Driver.
Resource.
Yeah.
Power. But not all shots are going to be going forward. I'm not always going to be going into the zone. There's 2 zones where a guy can hit me. He can hit me. Here, when I'm too far away and he has to make a prep on me. That's when I'm looking to make a shot in. Or when I'm in and I'm too close for him to hit. So when I'm going in, that's my weight going in. Or my weight's going in. But sometimes I gotta throw shots where I throw the limit. I'm now relying on a shorter penetration of shot, but at a higher speed, high velocity. A bit like
It's more of the shock.
Like a beanbag hitting you at high velocity. It does a lot of damage. Because I don't want to bring my chin into target. So I do the shots, if you like, what you're going to want. Stun your fucking face up or whatever it is. But basically, looking for that stun. Or I haven't got time to spend on you. It's a great clip up on there of the Turkish boxer. Going backwards and knocking guys down. Because you can't go forward. So you have to have a way of punching while going back. Where your body goes back, but your hands go forward. Rather than your body goes back and your hands come back with you. As well as your body going forward making the shot. So when you're doing your Tabatas, you could do wait, but also what? Go long. I'm going back. You can interpret it the way you like, and you can position it whichever way. Whichever way you like. As long as you don't want to change that one beat, and you can make it random. You could work series on there, left, right, left hook, left, right, left hook, or you could work random. Once you've set the rate, you can now work it randomly in blocks, block, in a block, or a block of those, or a series of those, or you can now start to work it random. So it starts to fit more like you would probably going to do it in a fight. And that's the thing as well, that when you're doing it, you're not giving yourself a big time frame in which to make the release. Which means, to do it, you have to have a better, it will develop your sense of time. If you haven't got a sense of time, you can't do that. You'll do this.
It's a push. And you see a lot of that
You
actually.
see a lot of that. The weight is pushing the bag or the weight. There's no actual, a good sprinter will be able to time the contact period, the explosive contact time he makes with the ground. Otherwise he'd be running like a robot. There's a natural reflex in the body where when you touch it, you will spring back. But the more you can enhance that or allow that facility or facilitate that, the better you're going to be. There's a natural, when I hit this, there's a natural extensor. But I help it. So I don't kill it. So I'm actually in the extensor reflex thrust, if you like, the thrust extensor. I'm actually facilitating it. But I have to have this. This kind of shit will build my sense of time. Because it's on timing that I release a ball, catch a ball, make a movement. And if I haven't got that sense of time of the process between or during the action, or actions, then I'm
so
big disadvantage.
What I'm hearing you saying is that even though when you first start doing the Tabatas, you have this feeling of power sacrifice because in order to get the rate, you can't get the power. That by doing it, you develop a sense of timing so that when you do have more space and time, you can put that finish in at the exact moment when you want it.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Okay.
So it allows me, and because it allows me to put my whole body in that time. And I can jump the Tabata. I can run the Tabata. I can move my Tabata off one side or moving back or whatever it is.
Okay.
Good. And we can also do it with what? We can ground and pound it. You can adapt.
Right.
You can do it with. Well, you can do it with a lot of different things without going pound. That's what does it.
But if you wanted to, you could say put the bag in guard, and you could do your Tabata.
Yeah. You could do a 5-round mixed routine. Bag on the ground or general, smashing a ball, punching the bag. 5 minutes of grappling, 20 seconds of intense heists on the ground, or with a guy. You can mix it up. Tossing no dummy for 20 seconds. Moving on to a nice quick piece of equipment after the 10. But the first thing you have to do is set the rate of the work. And not becoming emotionally involved. So the important thing is that I am destructive, but I'm also cognate. I have to match those two things together. And once I let my emotion of the effort take away my ability to see what's going on.
Yeah, because then you are tunneling, aren't you?
And that's what a lot of people will do. They're going to that state in order to get through the drill. They start off, they feel it, they have to put everything into it, which is true, but you have to and you'll learn to back off it and observe yourself doing it. So you're metacognitive. And not, I'm driving the car, I'm not the car. So I've got to be separate to the car. Got to feel it and feel my body and do all these things, but I've got to drive it. I can't become it. Okay, had a look at the thing, and the last video. This is the extension of it, the PS, which is not, you know, unusual for us. I think it's because there's so much information I want to put in. I try to cram it and don't get it all in, and so when I look at the video, I get more stuff to show you. I know I spoke on the thing about skimming and scamming, and that often refers to speed reading. But the way I use that interpretation is, like I said somewhere on the film that I go down on a train and I saccade on everything. All the items coming up, I'm trying to quickly switch my depth perception, peripheral vision, everything I'm looking at, I'm trying to increase the speed and rate at which I'm taking in information. I even sometimes go bap, 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 bap. I even make noises to myself, or just physical actions which will indicate in some way that I've actually acknowledged something I've seen. When I do that as well, I sometimes will count, do multiplication, do adding, do division while I'm doing that. So I'm sticking to a metronome beat, if you like. while I'm saccading, I'm also doing a cognitive. Go through a cognitive process, and I will look for specific things as well as novel things. So I'll look for an orange paper bag or something else, and I'll pick them up. And the idea being that if I dwelled on the bag, I might miss another bag or something novel. So what I'm always trying to do is shift very, very rapidly to increase the speed of my recognition networks. Then I've just got to put the response. I've trained a network system, if you like, to be very, very fast. And I then transfer that to the file. That's why you sometimes see me in some of the, I forget where it was, up in Liverpool, where I sometimes do, they have these light boards where lights come up, where you might hold a central vision point and you train it peripherally, or you switch on saccades so that you're following the lights. So I'm looking at the guy and I'm going da 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 ba ba ba. So. I'm indicating that I saw a movement in that area. So a person does this and I go up. He does that, I go up. And I think it's on one of the old DVDs we made. I think it was one up in Liverpool we were looking at yesterday with Bernie and that. Just to give you an idea of how I work, I work backwards from what the structure is and the system is and the process of the fight, and then try to figure out ways by which I can enhance that process or the fight. That's all I do. Basically, that's all I do. One of the things that, I think that explains that process whereby I'm trying to rapidly process information coming in. One of the things which I talked about was speed as opposed to power. And it made me think that I'd made it I'd oversimplified that. Because I kind of let you out on the idea that you don't have to produce impact force. And that speed was essential, or that speed was almost fixed, that you don't have to go any faster. You have to go faster and faster and faster and faster, and add to it the power, which is very, very difficult, because as we said, most people when they add power actually set up to perform power. They've actually mentally, physically rehearsed the development of the force they intend to produce in order to achieve the result, the outcome. Javelin thrower shot, but different, but similar. So the question is that really setting the high tempo, and the reason why it is a high tempo, like we said with the OODA loop, is so that the person cannot, his recognition and response networks are going to be too slow. And that's why what I did is I fire rapid shots. So I'm trying to go, we said that was a tempo we set, which can then be variable, in the sense that we can adapt it to whatever we need to do to overcome him, or adapt to what he's doing to us so we can counter or neutralize what he's doing. But those rhythms, those beats can vary in intensity, can vary in, they can be touches, they could be hits, they could be lots of, the rhythms are not necessarily just a hand or a foot or whatever it might be. They can be variables. And they can be variables not only in the magnitude of the force and the duration, but they can be variables in the sense that they're attacks, counter, or counter time. And they're usually coming in threes, or cluster, or not clusters, because that's a term being used by somebody at the time, and somebody who's kind of, not pissed me off, but kind of got at my nose. But they're being put in, what would it be? Groups, combinations. In the sense that they contain both attack, they could be attack, defense, counter, attack, defense. They could be variables on an attack, counter, or counter time thing. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yep.
So that when I'm attacking something, I place myself in a position where there are so many variables in the position, it itself will provide all those possible. They will overwhelm the guy. He will not be able, essentially, to defend. But I've made the attack in one line, for example, and here comes more attacks. So notice the whole thing has run off. 5 shots, 6 shots in one position. And I think I made the point of not one shot in one position, 1 shot per position.
Yeah.
That position is giving you lots of opportunities.
It keeps reloading.
Keeps reloading, and within that there could be so as you're doing that, there could be variables going off within that. The idea is that you maintain. If you drop the beat, that means you've let him in.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So the problem with how to set the rate at which you do the work. I've spoken before about withdrawal reflex, cross-extensor reflex, negative support reflex, and extensor thrust. So we're the drivers of the car.